again, I had to start over because I don't know what happened. It just told me that my page was not available anymore. And so I wasn't sure if it was still recording. So here we go. Hello. So I wanted to hop on here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Generation X and burnout. I've done a lot of reading over this COVID time. I've done some research. I'm a bit of a nerd like that. I'm very interested in the different generations and the characteristics that go with them and why, um, like where our values come from based on what generation our parents were in and how we're raising our kids based on what generation we're in and all that business. So I am a very proud Gen Xer. Okay. Um, Gen Xers defined by the Pew Research Center, that's where I've got all my information from, were born between 1965 and 1980. We're currently 40 to 55 years old. The generation right before us are the baby boomers, and they're a huge generation. And the generation right after us are the millennials, and they're a huge generation. And then most of us who have children, our children are Generation Z, which are the current like high school kids and college kids. Okay, because millennials are now in their late 20s, early 30s. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Generation X because that's the generation I'm in, and that's the generation that I'm focused on today. So I want to talk about all of the different directions that we're being pulled in as a generation. When I say we, I just mean collectively. This may not apply to everybody, but this is like what research is showing. So, Generation X is in the workforce still. We're only 40 to 55. We're not retirement age. We're still out there working. Statistically, through research, we often, and when I say we, like I said, I'm just talking about the generation as a whole, we get passed over for promotions. They'll go to millennials or they'll go to boomers, baby boomers. We're good at communicating in the workplace, though. We're good at collaborating, and I attribute that to having to play outside. Our parents sent us outside, said don't come home till the streetlights come on. All the neighborhood kids were sent outside, and we had to figure out how to entertain ourselves. We didn't have the technology, right? Weren't just allowed to sit inside and watch TV and play video games all day. So we learned how to work collaboratively by hanging out in the neighborhood and using our imaginations. So we're good at communicating. We're honest, those kind of things. So there's a lot of pluses for us in the workplace, but we're overlooked because the millennials are a very vocal generation, and their demands are often met more so because we're not really making demands. We're just trying to do our jobs. Again, research based, not bashing on millennials. So we have the responsibilities of working. A lot of us have kids. And so my son, and I'm 44, just to let you know where I fall. I just turned 44 years old. And so my son is 17. But there's people who are my age or maybe a few years older or maybe a little bit younger, and they have younger kids. So they're still like raising like young children. Like my job's almost done because he'll be 18. But some of y'all are still like raising kids. And so we have that responsibility where, they want to eat every day. What is that all about, right? Clothes, after school activities, driving them around, getting stuff for projects last minute because they forgot they had a project due, attending their events, all that stuff. There's a lot, okay? Like our lives mostly consist, if you're a parent, your life mostly consists of your child's schedule. That's what it's all about, okay? So then we have those two. We have work, we have our kids. Then something very interesting is happening. Our parents are aging. So my parents are almost 70 and 81. So my stepdad, who I consider my dad, he's from the silent generation, which is the generation right before the baby boomers. And my mom is a baby boomer, okay? But the baby boomer generation is so large, really depends on what part your parents are in, for where you are at, right? Or for where, where they are in the process. So luckily, my parents are still taking care of themselves. But there are other people who are my age or a little bit older in Generation X who are starting to care for their aging parents. And that may look like that their parent lives with them, or maybe they have to take off work to take their parent to all their appointments, or maybe they have to, their parents in like an assisted living community, but they have to manage everything. So we're the first generation where we're taking care of our children still while caring for our aging parents. Usually, you're an empty nester, and then it's time to start taking care of your parents. That's historically what the past has been. Okay, so career, kids, aging parents. That's a lot. I haven't even talked about maintaining a romantic relationship, nor have I talked about friendships, nor have I talked about just doing stuff for yourself. Wow. I'm exhausted just thinking about it. I don't know about y'all. So I want to talk about those feelings that go with like all that responsibility. Are you exhausted? Do you have a short fuse? Like, do the little things set you off? Do you not have time to do the things that you want to do or the things you used to enjoy to do? Are you not present with your family? Are all those responsibilities, all those demands taking you away from your family? If so, you may be suffering from burnout. Wow. You maybe didn't even think about that because I wrote something the other day that we think stress is part of being an adult. Well, stress is. But when it gets to be so much pile on pile on pile on pile like that, it's not just about being a grown up. It's too much. It's overwhelm. It's exhaustion. There may be physiological symptoms. It's a whole bunch of things. So, if any of this is resonating with you, if any of this, you're really feeling like, wow, that's me. I'm dealing with all that. Or maybe it's just that your job is like, oh my goodness, my job is making me exhausted. I have a short fuse. I don't have time for my family. Those kind of things. Or any of what I've said has resonated with you. I'd love for you to, well, I'm inviting you to set up a free clarity call with me. Totally free, 30-minute call where you'll be able to get some clarity around these feelings and where exactly they're coming from. And sometimes once we know where the feelings are coming from and exactly what we're feeling, we're able to find solutions. But when we're just with the overwhelm, when it keeps piling on, and even though I just kind of gave an explanation for it, that doesn't totally give you clarity. So I'm inviting you to a one-on-one clarity call with me. I'm going to drop the link for my calendar in the comments, and you'll be able to click on there and schedule an appointment. It'll be a Zoom appointment, so don't worry. No matter where you live, wherever you're watching this, we can meet on Zoom. And I'd like to help you get some clarity around these feelings. Burnout is hard, okay? And maybe you're not even thinking it's burnout. That's what we talk about. But, feeling all these things and all these responsibilities and everything we're dealing with, and I'm not even talking about COVID. That's a whole nother story. I'm just talking about our age group and and what we're dealing with based on our responsibilities in our life. So I appreciate you listening today. If you have any big takeaways, you could post those in the comments. You have a question, post it in the comments. Like I said, I'm going to drop my calendar link so you can just sign right up and we can do that 30-minute free clarity call. I'll talk to everyone later.